Alright everyone, it's time for the third installment of PUBG Pussy Strats. The strategies for people who kinda suck at the game and have to play like a pussy in order for a good chance to win a chicken dinner. In this episode, I'm gonna show you clips from an entire game I played where I won a chicken dinner. Now, I'll shorten it a bit and cut out some of the boring parts, but we can analyze my decisions as I go through this entire game and show you how playing like a pussy can get you a great chicken dinner, specifically on a fog map. Now, a fog map is great for people who play like pussies. But then again, you have to realize everyone's going to be playing a bit more like a pussy on fog maps, so you just have to have more patience than the next guy. Now, I didn't choose a completely pussy place to drop at Yasnaya Polyana. So this is actually kind of in the line of the plane and somewhere early on the route of the plane, so I definitely expected to have some company. I figured I'd go for a little bit of spice in my life. You know, if I was going to play the whole game like a pussy, I could at least drop somewhere slightly populated. Now, my friends and I call these two big buildings on the eastern side of the map the police station and the Kremlin. So I'm landing on top of the police station here, and I quickly look around, make sure nobody's dropping with me, and I get lucky and grab a scar quickly. Now, I was surprised I didn't hear any enemy parachutes right when I landed, and so I take a quick look over the edge to see if anyone's on the ground, and as it turns out, I actually had this building to myself. So I'll speed it up a bit. I looted the whole building, and now I go east, loot these two blue garages while keeping my eyes on the fields to the south, make sure no one else is around. And then I'm going to work my way towards the Kremlin, which is this big red brick-colored building with 2 stories. Now again, I haven't confirmed that this building is clear yet. Someone very well could have dropped and started looting this one initially, so I really take my time entering this building until I'm pretty sure that it's clear. I get lucky and find an SMG silencer here, which is one of my favorites. I put that on my UMP, but then quickly upgrade that to a Vector when I find it. A Vector is my favorite submachine gun if I can get the extended magazine. I think it has the highest DPS of the submachine guns, and it just really feels amazing when you get it silenced. Now you'll see I notice an airplane flying overhead, and I get lucky that it happens to drop a crate in my near vicinity. Now in fog maps, crates are a little bit interesting because unlike on a clear map where you can see the crate from like a kilometer away or more, the crates are only visible within a few hundred meters on fog maps, so they actually get a lot less traffic on fog maps than on clear maps. Normally I would never even go for this crate on a clear map because I'm a pussy. But in this one I tried to go for it. Now I still make my way around the east side of the crate, try to get a good vantage point before just rushing for it and see if anybody else is coming. I don't see anyone and I move for the crate. Now I probably should have confirmed that nobody was coming from the other direction, from the city, which is where most traffic would come from. But I did put the crate between me and that area while looting to protect me from any fire, which I didn't confirm because I didn't confirm anybody was coming from that direction. Now I get a Groza. I have very rarely ever gotten to use this gun, and I'm excited for it. So I make my way back for the Kremlin because I know I dropped 100 rounds of 7.62 magazine, 7.62 ammo there, and I'd like to get it. Now some chump starts shooting at me. He was probably trying to get the crate himself, and luckily, with a little bit of jumping, I was able to evade getting killed. He must have been a shitty shot or far away, but he actually sounded pretty close. I wonder what weapon he had. So once I get back into the Kremlin, I get the rest of the ammo. I get the rest of the ammo that I knew I had left behind, and I hold the top of this stairwell for a little bit, trying to determine if he's going to chase me down. I don't know if he's even coming after me at this point until I hear a grenade nearby, which he's probably lobbed in a window. So now I take big advantage of the control moving, walking very quietly to not give him any awareness of my surroundings. On the flip side, I'm very carefully using my ears and my headset to determine when he's coming to me. In fact, I'll turn up the volume here so you can hear his footsteps as he comes in the front door. Now, I'd love to hear your comments about which gun I should have had out right now. Should I have used my Groza instead of the Vector? Probably, maybe. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't fire when I first had my crosshairs on him. Maybe it was just a bit of a delayed reaction, but luckily I got enough bullets into his body that I could clean him up after a second engagement. Notice I very quickly moved positions. I didn't want to stay in the same position. He heard my fire coming from the first time. It's very important to move and adapt every time you take a new burst of shots. I use that principle in this second engagement here. I see a guy running across the field. I get a couple shots off at him. I think only one of these hits, and he takes cover behind a tree. So I quickly, again, reposition, send some fire down from a new position, adapt adjusting my height, sometimes crouching, sometimes laying, sometimes standing, as I move between these different peaks is also an advantage I've found to be very useful. Now, unfortunately, I end up not actually killing this guy. I can't finish the job here, and after my last reposition, I lose sight of him. I think he must have decided to run off, and I decided not to chase him down, so this guy and I, we go our separate ways. So now I make my way for the mansion, hoping it's unlooted. I know it's probably been looted, and as I can see here by this building, it has been looted. I hear a little bit of nearby gunfire, so I quickly start moving into stealth mode and moving very slowly. Luckily, there's some 45 ACP ammo all over the place. I think that's like the most common type of ammo, and that's what I'm using for my Vector, so I still do get to clean up a little bit of ammo. I make my way across the courtyard quickly. I was actually surprised not to get shot at here, and now I see the circle is moving in a little bit to the west. So I'm pretty sure there's actually going to be enemies in this compound up on the hill. I don't think it has a name, but it's basically this set of buildings up on top of the hill just west of the mansion. Because I see it's going to be right on the edge of the circle, my guess is that there's somebody in there. So I flank around the north side of it while making sure to watch my flank. And I take up a position behind this rock where I'll be sure to see anybody leaving this compound as the next circle comes through. And here's one where it's pure pussy strats. I sit here for about 3 minutes using some good prone strats laying in the grass to watch anybody coming out of this compound. As it turns out, I don't actually see anybody leaving this mansion, so when the circle's getting ready to move, I make sure that my flank is clear so that I can run off. I want to make sure that there's not going to be anybody behind me. And then I make a break for it, running across the road and hugging the very far outside of the blue circle. If you look at the map here, if you look at the mini-map, you can see that just by hugging the outside of the circle, of the blue circle, I'll actually make my way into the white circle very easily. Now again, I have to clear these buildings before I drop my guard and move quickly, so I make extra sure to look in the windows, and it becomes quite clear that this actually hasn't been looted yet, and I don't think there's anybody here. So now, as we move into the late game, you know exactly what's going to happen. Pussy strats, prone strats. Taking advantage of the field, the grass in the field, especially with the foggy maps. There's not going to be people sniping from afar, and when the circle is this small, you know, this grass is going to be rendered for everybody. So it actually makes good cover when you lay in the ground. Now, my strategy involves mostly taking advantage of my ears to position and place where I think everybody is on the map. As you can see, this new white circle has zipped back over to the east side, so I'm going to use my exact same strategy again in reverse, hug the outside of the blue circle till I get to the point where the blue circle and the white circle intersect, so I can get onto the inside of the new, smaller white circle. I really love going prone in the middle of the field, but I find going prone by a hay bale is even better, because then if needed, I can get up into a crouch to take shots at somebody while still having cover from a good portion of the angles. Catch a guy here running across the field. Man, this Groza actually feels pretty good. Again, I've only used this gun maybe once or twice in my life, but... So based on the sounds of the firefight, I know that there's a couple contacts down here to my left, so I'm attempting to pick anybody off if I see them, but I actually don't. Always making sure that I'm just inside the white circle when the timer starts. And watch the notifications here. Right now there's myself and 3 enemies. There's a little firefight that goes on. And then you'll notice the other guy dies to the blue circle. If you watch down on the lower left, you'll see the notification. One guy kills the other, but then he dies to the circle. I didn't actually notice that when I was playing, so I was caught. I assumed that there were still 2 enemies left, but I noticed late that there was actually only myself and 1 enemy left. I do like to take advantage of the grenades, give some distraction. I know when I hear grenades, I instantly look to where the grenades are going off. So I'm just using up some of my grenades. 1, for distraction. 2, hoping I get a kill. I'm throwing them in the direction of the last known shots. Maybe there's someone hiding behind this hay bale over there. Again, I'd really love to hear you guys based on my loadout here with the Groza and the Vector, what gun would you guys have at your ready most of these times? I mean, I know the Groza does so much more damage, so would I only use the Vector when I need the silence? Or are there some times where you guys would keep the Vector out instead of the Groza? So this very last circle screws me, so I know I'm going to have to make a break for it. So again, I'm going to try to run around the outside edge. And this is actually crazy. Watching it on a review, you can see this enemy guy in the field out here, and he takes fire at me before I notice where he is in the game. Luckily, I can acquire my target pretty quickly and light him up with the Groza for the chicken dinner. So these are great pussy strats. I think I got really lucky that in 3 firefights, my enemies all had really shitty shots. So that's great news. This game could have gone another way where any one of these guys could have killed me quickly, and I wouldn't be here showing you the game. But as it turned out, I thought it was a good example of how to use pussy strats on a foggy map to secure the win. I hope you guys are really liking this channel. I know it's not for everybody, and I know I get a lot of hate for the type of strategy, but I'm really just trying to show not how you should play every game, but how, if you really want to go for a win, how you can play to best increase your odds getting that win. And again, as always, you need to practice some firefights. You know, my buddies and I always call it playing a spicy match, right? We jump somewhere where there's going to be a lot of traffic, where we're not going to win, we're just going to have some fun. Do that every once in a while, but when you really want to win, pussy strats is the way to go.